Will Democrats vote in the Republican primary? It's January 31st, 2024. These are your headlines. With the primary elections in Texas quickly approaching, some groups are calling on Democrat voters to go ahead and cross over, vote in Republican primaries in order to thwart conservative candidates. While establishing closed primaries in which voters may only vote in the primary election for the party they're affiliated with, while that has been a legislative priority of the Republican Party of Texas, the state instead operates on an open primary system. Voters of any party can choose which party primary they want to vote in on any given year, though they may not vote in both in the same year. In some districts, that means Democrats voting in Republican primary elections in safely red districts in order to elect more moderate candidates. And while the issue has been a priority of the Republican Party of Texas, it hasn't gotten traction in the state legislature. In recent weeks, however, new attention has been placed on the issue after an internal memo from presidential hopeful Nikki Haley's campaign revealed that Democrat support in open primary states, like Texas, could boost her chances. We also saw this in New Hampshire. And it's not just national politics. Pastors for Children, a group that advocates against parental choice in education, encouraged Democrat voters in a social media post this week to vote in the Republican primary elections in order to defeat pro-school choice candidates. They said, if you're a Democrat in a Republican text-led House district where the Democrat has no opponent, vote for the pro-text-ed anti-voucher Republican in the March 5th primaries. And get every Democrat you know to do the same. They said, we are Texans, we only have one party, the Texas Party. In Belton, where State Representative Hugh Shine is facing opposition from a pro-school choice challenger, a local Democrat was caught encouraging Democrats to vote in the Republican primary election. Christine Wellborn, the executive director of the election integrity advocacy group Advancing Integrity, said it's past time for closed primaries in Texas. She said each party must be able to choose candidates that best represent the values of that party. We must close the primaries and end the sabotage. What do you think? Should we have closed primaries in Texas? Let me know. After a law banning diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in higher education took effect this year, the University of Texas at Austin has announced it will be canceling its segregated cultural graduations. Have you heard about these? UT Center for Leadership and Learning Director Brandolyn Flunder emailed students saying the university will no longer fund cultural graduations, including Black, Latinx, as they say, and Asian graduations. These are essentially racially segregated graduations. I mean, we're literally going backwards. Well, Senate Bill 17, which took effect in January, effectively prohibits Texas universities from hiring employees to perform the duties of a DEI office and is supposed to block any promotion of policies, training, or activities designed or implemented in reference to race, color, or ethnicity. According to the Daily Texan, the school newspaper, the closure of their Department for DEI also impacts the university's welcome programs, including Cultivation, Block Party, New Black Student Weekend, and Adelante, which is geared towards Latin and Hispanic students in 4 directions. Although the university will no longer fund the graduations, in one of Flunder's emails, she said they are working diligently to find an alternative home for the graduations. Brady Gray, the president of Texas Family Project, told Texas Scorecard that he is thankful that UT Austin has made the decision to end its discriminatory graduation practices. He said it's imperative that students, alumni, and supporters continue to hold universities accountable for woke policies.
If you're not watching the Luke Macias Show, then you are not as engaged as everybody else is in Texas who's trying to make a difference, knowing exactly what's going on so that they can take action on the things that really matter. Guys, watch us on the Roku app for Texas Scorecard. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Get engaged, get more informed, so together we can actually make a bigger difference on things that matter for the future of Texas. God bless you.
Freshman State Representative Frederick Frazier, a McKinney Republican, has lost another local endorsement after leaving his police job in disgrace and admitting to multiple misdemeanors committed during his 2022 GOP primary campaign. Members of the McKinney Police Association declined to endorse Frazier for re-election to House District 61 after they backed him in 2022. That's according to officers familiar with the vote. Frazier, who himself is a former Dallas police officer and McKinney City councilman, is running for re-election to retain his House seat despite being mired in scandal. In December, Frazier retired from the Dallas PD with a dishonorable discharge rather than face possible termination. He was the subject of an ongoing internal investigation and had been placed on the Brady list of officers considered not credible when testifying at a trial. Also in December, Frazier admitted in court to multiple crimes involving campaign signs of his 2022 Republican primary opponent, Paul Chabot. Throughout the 2022 campaign, Frazier publicly denied the charges, but investigators had obtained evidence tying him to the crimes weeks before the primary election. On December 5th, Frazier pleaded guilty to criminal mischief, a misdemeanor for vandalizing his opponent's signs. He also pleaded no contest to 2 charges of attempting to impersonate a code compliance officer in order to get his opponent's signs removed. He was originally indicted on felony impersonation charge, but had them reduced down to Class A misdemeanors. A felony conviction, by the way, would have been grounds for expulsion from the Texas House. Dozens of elected officials and law enforcement groups endorsed his campaign in 2022. Other officials and law enforcement groups are continuing to back Frazier even now. In January, for example, the Dallas Police Association renewed its endorsement of Frazier. The Republican primary is March 5th. You can find more of today's stories at TexasScorecard.com.